Western media are suspicious. Why is BTS's Jungkook house so different? When BTS's Jungkook name is mentioned, what comes to mind in the minds of the world's public is usually a grand stage, a stadium full of a sea of army light, luxurious fashion, and an all-open global celebrity lifestyle. But that's exactly where the awkwardness begins. The Western media has recently highlighted one unusual, even suspicious, aspect of Jungkook: his private home. Not because it is too flashy or full of luxury on display, but because it is the opposite. Jungkook's house is considered too closed, too quiet, and too different from the homes of other world-class stars that a number of entertainment and lifestyle media in America and Europe began to question why Jungkook, who is now at the peak of global popularity, chose a residential pattern that is almost never seen by the public. There are no exclusive home tours, no excessive uploads of interior details, and almost no visual leaks that can be used as media consumption. For Western media accustomed to celebrity transparency, this has become an anomaly. They are used to seeing the artist's home as an extension of personal branding, a status symbol, and a means of communication with fans. Jungkook seemed to reject all that. Suspicions began to arise when some foreign journalists compared Jungkook to global musicians his age. Many of them proudly flaunt mansions, swimming pools, private studios, and even living rooms that are deliberately open for publication. Jungkook took the opposite path. His house is not the center of attention, but a fortress. Western media considered this decision unusual for an artist born and raised in the era of social media. The question then leads to one fundamental point. What does Jungkook really want to protect? According to reports, Jungkook's home reflects the concept of extreme privacy rather than luxury. Not that it's not luxurious, but that luxury is not on display. There is no show-off narrative, no effort to build an image through property. This sparked speculation that the house is not just a place to live, but a safe space that is deliberately kept away from the outside world. For the Western media, this led to the impression that Jungkook separated his life strictly between stage and personal life, something that global pop stars rarely do. The spotlight was sharpened when some cultural analysts in the West linked Jungkook's attitude to his life background. They judged that Jungkook is not a typical artist who grew up from comfort. He was raised with strong family values, with an awareness of the boundaries between public and private. The house, in this context, is not a symbol of success that should be announced, but rather a symbol of protection. The Western media, accustomed to consuming open life narratives, see this attitude as a mystery that is difficult to read. The suspicion in question is not always negative, but full of curiosity. Why is Jungkook so guarded about his personal space, even when the world wants to take a closer look? Some media outlets say that this is a subtle form of resistance to the modern celebrity culture that demands everything to be opened up. Jungkook is considered to be challenging the unwritten norm that popularity must be paid for with total openness. In the Western world, this seems radical. Interestingly, this difference actually makes Jungkook's name more and more often discussed. The closed house became a symbol of something that global celebrities rarely have: complete control over the narrative of their own lives. Western media began to realize that Jungkook did not let his personal property be defined by market expectations. It does not sell the story of his house as content. It doesn't make it a commodity. And this is what is considered different as well as suspicious by Western entertainment standards. In some opinion articles, it is mentioned that Jungkook's house may reflect mental exhaustion from the relentless spotlight. The house is believed to be the only place where Jungkook can truly be an ordinary human being, not a global icon. The Western media sees this as a signal that world-level fame has a very high price, and Jungkook seems to be well aware of that. He chose to pay the price by building walls, not windows. There are also media that associate this closed attitude with the protection of the family. Jungkook is known for taking great care of those closest to him. The house, in this point of view, was not just his, but the property of those whom he wanted to protect from the hustle and bustle of fame. Western media refer to this as Eastern values that are difficult for individualistic Western celebrity culture to understand. This difference in value is what makes Jungkook's house feel foreign, even confusing. The more it is traced, the clearer it becomes that the peculiarity of Jungkook's house lies not in its physicality, but in its meaning. The Western media began to change their point of view, from suspicious to reflective. They see that perhaps all this time the entertainment industry has misplaced the homes of celebrities as objects of public consumption. Jungkook, in his silent way, seemed to remind that not everything has to be seen. Not all success has to be exhibited. In the midst of an increasingly transparent world, Jungkook's house stands as a striking exception. The Western media may suspect, it may wonder, but it is precisely from the cover-up that a new attraction arises. Jungkook became a symbol that difference does not always mean deviation, and privacy is not a weakness. His house, which is too different, is now no longer just a building, but a statement of attitude. A silent message from a global star who chose to remain in control of her own life. Even though the rest of the world wanted to step in and take a closer look, the cover-up, which initially sparked suspicion, slowly turned into the subject of serious discussion among observers of Western popular culture. They began to see Jungkook's home not as a mere physical property, but as a symbol of a major shift in the way a global star interprets fame. At a time when the Western entertainment industry is pushing for extreme transparency, from the contents of cabinets to the corners of bedrooms, Jungkook is creating distance. It is this distance that makes Western media uneasy, as they lose access, lose visual stories, and lose control over the narrative. Some media outlets even judged that Jungkook's decision to keep his house closed was the subtlest but most powerful form of resistance. He does not criticize the industry openly, does not make manifestos, does not complain on social media. He was just silent, and in that silence, he rejected the demand to be always in sight. In the eyes of Western journalists, this attitude is alien because it contradicts the logic of popularity that they have always understood. The more famous, the more open. Jungkook broke that formula. Suspicion then shifts to deeper speculation. There have been media outlets asking if the closure of Jungkook's house has anything to do with his past experiences as an idol growing up under the strict pressure of Korean industry. They suspect that from a very young age, Jungkook has become accustomed to living under surveillance, so when he has full power over his life, the first thing he protects is personal space. The house becomes the last non-negotiable boundary. For the Western media, this is a narrative that rarely appears. A superstar who precisely wants to disappear when the stage lights go out. Some celebrity property watchers in the West have even written that Jungkook's house doesn't seem designed to be admired, but rather to be lived in. This sounds simple, but in the world of global celebrities, the concept is almost revolutionary. Many artist houses are built with cameras, shooting angles, and publication potential in mind. Jungkook's house, according to them, is just like rejecting the existence of cameras. Not publication-friendly, not gossip-friendly, and not curiosity-friendly. The reaction of the Western public was divided.